Hello and Namaste everyone. Today's yoga practice is going to be focused on anterior pelvic tilt. Let us first understand what is anterior pelvic tilt. Now anterior pelvic tilt is overarching of your lower back. So if you see here, this is the overarch in the lower back, which can cause extreme lower back pain and sometimes knee pain and other issues as well. Why does this happen? This happens as your erector spinae, which is your complete back muscle group, which starts from the sacrum to the base of the skull. They become shortened and they pull your back backwards. And here is your iliopsoas muscle. Those also are getting shortened. Your hip flexors, commonly known as the hip flexors, they are also getting shortened and they are also pulling the back even further backwards.
Tight quadricep muscles also contribute to the backward pull, hence overarching.
All this creates a lot of stress on your lower back and you may experience some extreme lower back issues. Another reason that this happens is because we sit a lot, constantly your hip flexors are getting shortened. They are constantly in this position. This is where they are getting shortened and that is why you experience a lower pelvic tilt. To combat this, let us get into the practice. Start at the top of your mat.
Begin with raising your arms above your head, and as you exhale,
bring the palms to heart center, slowly bending your knees, bend forward. Stay here. Drop your head forward. Drop your head forward and stay and breathe. What this is doing is it is stretching the complete back, the erector spinae muscles. This is actually helping it stretch there. Stay here for a few more breaths. 5, 4, you can even hang here freely. 3, 2, and 1. Place your palms down. Take the right foot back, place the knee down. When you're placing the knee down, see that both the knees are in 90-90 angle. So see, my left knee here is at 90-degree angle and the right knee also is at the back at 90-degree angle. You can keep your toes tucked in for extra balance. Tuck your pelvis inwards. Now as you tuck your pelvis inward, don't drop your chest. Very common mistake, please do not do that. We are trying to stretch the psoas and the quads. Tuck your pelvis slightly in, you will feel a stretch on the quads muscles as well as on the hip flexors here on the right side. Stay here and breathe for 5 and keep your palms up for added stretch. 4, keep breathing. 3, 2, and 1. Very gently. Bring the palms down on the floor. Take the leg further back, straighten the knee. Now you can continue in the previous posture itself, or if you want to challenge yourself and if you feel you can go ahead, keep the back knee absolutely straight, the left leg still at 90-degree angle and come up.
you're not at 45-degree angle.
You are coming up straight as if you have a wall in front of you. You can even do this posture against a wall, wherein this leg will be outside of the wall and here is where you have your wall. Keep your palms up and stay here and breathe. 5, 4, keep breathing. 3, 2, and 1. Slowly bring your knees down. Bring your palms down. Now, bringing both the palms down one more time, keeping the right hand here itself, folding the right leg. This is stretching your quad muscles and you take your left hand back, hold your ankle. If possible, if not possible, use a towel, use a rope, whatever you need. And push your hip forward as you can. Lift your chest up and stay here and breathe for 5. Sorry about her. 4, 3, keep breathing, keep pushing forward. 2, and and 1. Taking your leg back, stay in the low lunge itself. As you stay in the low lunge, if this is too painful for you, stay here itself. Otherwise, if you want to challenge yourself, bring your left hand up and then right hand up. Come up. Keep pushing the hip forward, keep lifting the chest up. Remember the concept of wall in front of you. I'm tucking the pelvis in constantly. As you feel that, you will feel the extra stretch in your iliopsoas or your hip flexors. Extend the arms up and stay here and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And so bring the palms down. Tuck your toes in. Slide your left leg towards the right hand. So you're going to slide your left leg towards the right hand. Bring the left knee down. Take your left foot inwards if this stretch is too much for you. Here we are going into the pigeon pose. So see that you're not sitting here and opening the other hip out. See that you are closing the hip constantly, even if you are higher. What I mean is, if your leg is off the floor, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you are still tucking the pelvis in. So do that small tuck of the pelvis, stay high and breathe. Remember the concept of the wall. Now here, based on your flexibility, you will be able to go only as much. Keep lifting higher as much as you can. Keep your palms down if you need to, and keep lifting as high as possible. Keep breathing here. Keep lifting high and breathe. 5, 4. Remember to keep the pelvis tucked in. 3, 2. Keep breathing. And 1. And slowly release. Bring the palms down. Tuck your right toes in. Take your left leg back. Find space if you have a puppy on your mat. And get into downward facing dog. This is stretching your entire erector spinae, complete back. Stay here and breathe for 5, 4. You can pedal your feet if you want. You can keep your knees bent. 3, 2, and 1. Bring your right foot forward. We'll repeat the same sequence on the other side. So the right foot comes forward in between your palms. 90, 90. Keep your left toes tucked in this time. Keep your palms on the waist. Remember to bring the pelvis slightly forward. Imagine you're in front of a wall. All the body parts are touching the wall, including your hip flexor. If you touch here, you will feel a bone inside. That muscle and that bone is what we are trying to get forward as much as possible. Stay here and breathe. You can take your arms up for extra challenge. 5. Keep breathing. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Bring your palms down. Moving your left leg further back. Coming up into a modified warrior 1, Veerbhadra Asana 1, or a high lunge. Remember, your front leg is 90 degrees. If this is not 90, you can come up, but keep the back knee as straight as possible. If this is too challenging for you, then you can stay in the previous posture itself. Do not come up. Stay here. Remember the wall. The moment you tuck in the pelvis, you have to put in extra effort to stay here, to keep that knee straight, and extend your arms and breathe. 5, 4, keep breathing. 3, keep the pelvis in. 2, and 1. And so bring the arms down. Bring the knee down. From there, left palm on the mat. Take your left knee slightly more back as far as possible. Fold your knee and take the right hand. behind. Remember, you're not taking your hip backwards. That just defeats the purpose of this posture. You are bringing the hip further forward. If your heel is not touching your buttocks, it's completely fine. Do not bother about that. But remember to keep sinking the hip downwards and then pulling the heel towards the buttocks. That is where your quads will stretch the maximum. Yes? And stay here and breathe. 5, 4, work with your breath. 3, chest up. 2, remember the pelvic tilt. And 1. And release. Palms down. Stay here. Tuck your toes out. Extend your arms up. Again, remember that slight pelvic tilt. Sinking the hip forward. Lift up, chest up. Stay here and breathe for 5. 4, also known as Anjaneyasana. 3, 2, and 1. And slowly release the arms down. Moving into the pigeon pose. We are taking the leg towards the left side, knee down. And remember, there is no rule that you have to keep the foot in line with the knee. It is ideal, of course, but if you cannot, bring the toes slightly in, the foot slightly in. Stay where you're comfortable. Just remember not to sit down, opening the hip. We are not trying to do this. This tight psoas muscles cause the external rotation of the hip, which is what happens in most back bends. And pigeon pose is also a back bend. So remember, we are trying to stretch the psoas muscle, which is why we would stay here. We will try to go lower by sliding the foot further back. And breathe for 5. Keep breathing. 4. You come up higher if you're comfortable. 3. Remember the pelvic tilt. 2. And 1. And slowly release. Release here, tuck your toes in. Take the other foot back into downward facing dog. Now, you can keep the heels higher, pedal your feet here. Remember, this is working on your erector spinae, stretching the complete back. Keep breathing. One more deep breath. Come down on your knees, sit back into Vajrasana or Thunderbolt pose. Take a break here. Remember, you're taking a break, but it is not actually a break. Your quads are still stretching. So we are still working. So keep your palms over your thighs. If this is too difficult, please place a cushion underneath here. Sometimes the ankles are not so open. Sometimes your quads don't allow you to sit this way. Place a cushion in between your thighs and your calves. Otherwise, you can sit here, keep your eyes closed and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Remember, we're trying long, deep breaths, so work on that breath all the time. Alright? Moving slightly forward, we'll move into hero pose or virasana. Again, you can take a cushion behind you. What I'm doing is I'm rolling the flesh out of my calves so that I can sit in between my heels. This is different from the previous posture, which was Vajrasana. We are sitting in between our heels.
Slowly move into reclining hero pose.
You bring the palms down, bring the elbows down. Stay here if this is where you're going to be today.
Even if you're on your palms,
There's no harm. You're working on stretching the psoas, working on stretching the quads, right? So we're going here. Now quads are already stretched here. This is your psoas work.
Moving down towards your elbows.
Breathe here. 3, 2, 1. If you feel comfortable, go down completely. Remember, you will see that slight arch in the lower back. Here, this is extended arch. Trying to pull the pelvis inwards, but not lifting the knees off the floor. But trying to keep tucking the pelvis inwards, reducing that arch. Keep breathing here. Extend the arms overhead if you can. If you cannot, stay here and breathe for 5, 4, 3. Keep trying to bring the knees together. Remember the psoas. 2. Internal rotation. And 1. And come up the same way that you went. Slowly bringing one arm at a time. And come up and sit up. And we're going to bend forward. Bring the knees together. And bend forward into child's pose. Stretching the back completely. If this is too difficult for you, keeping the knees together, keep the knees out and then bring the head down. That is also one way of doing child's pose. If you can, then bring the knees together and then go down. Stay here and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming up. Now that our hip flexors are stretched, we're going to try to extend them even more, which can happen in back bends. And one of the back bends that can help us attain that is Ushtrasana or Camel pose. So we're going to alternate first, coming up on your knees. Keep the toes tucked in at the beginning. Later you can take them down. From there, take your right hand back, hold the right heel, extend the left arm up and look back. Pushing the hip forward at the same time. Remember, you're pushing the hip forward, and remember to not arch your back here as well. We are not trying to attain this posture. We are trying to tuck the pelvis in, push the hip forward, extend the arm up, and then stay here and breathe. And one more breath. And change hands. Left hand, left heel. Push and up. Remember to keep tucking the pelvis in. If you're tucking the pelvis in, you'll feel it in your lower abdomen. And one more breath. And see if you can take both the hands behind. And keep pushing forward. Drop your head back. Only if you can. If you cannot, keep it here. Drop your head back for 5, 4, 3. See if you can bring your toes tucking outside. If you cannot stay in the previous posture, just for 2 breaths. 2 and 1. And slowly bring one arm out at a time. Very gently sit back into child's pose. Yes. Now remember, in child's pose, do not stay here. This is still active. We are trying to stretch the spine as much as possible. Sink down into the floor and breathe.
3, 2, and 1.
And gently come up. From there, moving into lying down. Remember to keep your back flat. There is no space here. I'm lifting my hips up so I'm finding space. But otherwise, there is no space. So you are tucking the pelvis in. Yes. This is where you have your extended arch. This is your neutral spine. This is me trying to tuck the pelvis in. Even if you try to tuck the pelvis in, remember that it may slightly come off. Keep it as close to your neutral curve of the spine as possible, which still means that your hand will not be possibly going inside, although you can probably feel a small space in, but it will not go inside. Stay here. Bring your legs up at 90 degrees. A part of strengthening the lower back is also strengthening your lower abdominals, which is our, this lower belt next to the pelvis. Yes, so keep your knees at 90 degree. What we are doing is maintaining the 90 degree angle and taking the leg down and just tapping and coming back. 1, tap and back. 2, tap and back. 3, tap and back. 4, tap and back. 5, tap and back. 6, tap and back. 7, tap and back. 8, tap and back. 9, tap and back. 10. This is just 5 each side. 5 more. Yes. Tap and back. 1, tap and back. 2, tap and back. 3, tap and back. 4, tap and back. 5, tap and back. 6, tap and back. 7, tap and back. 8, tap and back. 9, tap and back. 10. And hug your knees to the chest. By now your abdomen should be on fire. Bring your feet down. Now see, this is the extended arch. Here is where you're tucking the pelvis in. We're going to do the bridge pose. Now remember to keep tucking the pelvis in as you're trying to stretch the psoas and the quads along with. Keep touching your heels if you can reach. If not, don't bother about it. And tuck your pelvis in. Remember, this is arch. This is tucking. So tuck your pelvis in and then lift up. As you inhale, lift up. Stay here and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And slowly come down. Remember, your feet should not go this way. Yes, we're not trying to do Charlie Chaplin feet. Keep your feet in line, parallel to the sides of the mat.
Final back bend, wheel pose. Now, if it is too challenging for you, then do not attempt this pose today. You can attempt this pose at a later stage and continue with the previous posture, the bridge pose as of now. However, if you feel that your psoas is stretched enough and your quads are stretched enough and you are ready, then go ahead with this posture. Take your hands behind, fingers pointing towards you.
Feet in. Remember not to externally rotate your feet. Feet are turning inwards. They can be slightly inwards as they will automatically rotate slightly outwards. Slowly inhale. Lift up. Remember you are tucking the pelvis in. Lift up. Come up on your head. From there. Up. And breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And slowly come down. hugging your knees. Yes. And slowly come up. Sit up. Keep your knees bent. One more time, moving into Paschimottanasana. Remember, erector spinae, we are still stretching that. Also, it's a counter pose for wheel pose. Extend and go down. And stay and breathe. 1, 2, work with your breath. 3, 4, 5, and release. Come up and release. Straighten your legs. Keep your left leg straight. Right leg over the left knee. So the foot is placed outside the left knee. Hug your right knee as if you're hugging your favorite person in the world. Hug your right knee, straighten your spine. Take your right hand behind, twist and look back. Now, remember the erector spinae is also responsible for rotation of the spine, which is why we are rotating here. And twist and look back. Keep breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So you take your right arm up, release, extend both the legs one more time. Left foot outside the right knee. Yes, keep your right foot active, hugging the knee. Take your left hand behind. Place the palm down. You can be on the fingertips or you can place the full palm down. Choice is yours. And twist and look back for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And so release, extend the arm up. Release, extend both the legs. Prepare for the final resting posture, Shavasana. And stay here. And breathe.
So that your feet are flopped over to the either sides. You can keep your knees slightly bent if you want to. Pelvis tucked in gently. Shoulders away from each other. Chin towards the chest. And eyes closed, jaw relaxed. Relax your facial muscles and breathe. Keep breathing. Keep your focus on your breath. Continue to inhale and exhale. Long inhalations, even longer exhalation. At this point, take your awareness to your lower back. Observe how is your lower back feeling. Gently bring the awareness to whole body.
Join your feet together. Take your arms overhead. Give yourself a good stretch. And release. Bend your knees. Turn over to the right side. Come up and sit up. Thank you for the practice.